Hello, my fellow Americans. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. Billions. This is the next part. Another piece to the puzzle coming up. Remember, $10 billion to a trillion is the same as a penny to a dollar. Keep that in mind as we discuss this. There's an unwritten rule in government. It's a secret. Okay? And everybody who works for government knows this, but it's not discussed. And what that secret is that if you don't spend your budget, your entire budget, then you're going to get a budget cut when budget time comes around. Now, this is something that everybody in government knows. And you don't want your budget cut because then you lose stature. If your budget get cut, then you've been taken down a peg or two. They're going to wonder what's wrong with you. In fact, they're going to be thinking, hey, maybe he's going to lose his division, his department, his committee, his section. Gone. He got a budget cut. So that's something you do not want to have happen if you're in the government. Now, this isn't information that's secondhand. I work for the government. I worked at the county government. That's right. I was a data processing manager. I had a budget. And come budget time, my staff urged me to spend money because if I didn't spend that budget, we might get a budget cut. It's like, I was all about saving the taxpayer dollars. I didn't just want to go out there and spend their money willy-nilly. But oh no, that was frowned upon. Got to spend that budget. And then, I was a data processing manager, state level. That's right. And come budget time, the same thing happened. You know, we've got, I forget what it was. It was over $100,000 and they needed that money spent. Because if they didn't spend it, come next year, budget cut. I've got buddies that work at the federal government. They told me same thing happens there. But like I said, I've experienced it firsthand at two different levels. And I've got, personal friends who have experienced it. And that's just the way it is. And you see, that's part of the problem because when these, appropriation committees of these senators and congressmen get together, they're not sharpening their pencil and looking for millions that can be eliminated. And even $1 billion doesn't get their attention. No, we're talking tens of billions, hundreds of billions before it gets their attention. $1 million here, $1 million there. Don't bother me. That's not even a penny to them. They don't care. And that's why we have the mess we're in. That's why we have a debt that keeps piling up. And that's why we've got this deficit. Because we've got all these expenses, but only so much revenue. But nobody wants to cut government programs. Not the government employees, not the recipients, and not the senators or congressmen. Because if they don't bring home so much bacon, pork to their state, people aren't going to vote for them. So you see, we've got this problem that nobody is going to solve. They can see what it is. It's simple. They all know what it is. But they're not going to do anything about it. Because they don't have to. Because we the people are going to elect them. I mean, Obama won. Look what he did. I mean, it's lunacy when you think about it. I mean, it's not really that funny, but it is funny. Because it's crazy. Why we the people re-elect these bozos that have put us in this position in the first place. They are part of the problem. They are the problem. They will never be part of the solution. But Why don't we seem to recognize that? Why don't we understand it? Why don't we grasp these facts? It's just amazing. But it's going to happen again. I mean, right now they're talking about, the Republicans and the Democrats and the tax cuts and blah, 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 Obamacare and all this other mess. Do you believe any of it? It's all window dressing. But the problem is that the size of the government and government spending has gotten so big that millions, even billions, don't matter. It might matter to people like me and you. We'd love to have $1 million or $1 billion. Yeah, stack it up here. I'll take it. I'll do something real good with it. But to them, it's peanuts. It's not even a penny. $1 million? Come on. So, we all know of the fraud and the waste. I mean, when you look at things like Medicare, food stamps, we all know there's fraud, there's waste. But the number isn't enough to get anybody's attention. And it's a social ticking time bomb. You think some senator that goes in there and tries to crack down on food stamps in his state or her state, think they're going to get reelected? Not a chance. What can we do? Well, we know what we can do, but the question is, will we do it? But short of that, we all are just going to sit around, make videos, talk amongst ourselves, and the government's going to keep doing what it's doing. It's amazing, isn't it? How did we get in this mess in the first place? And why do we continue to stay here? Well, like I said, those how and why questions aren't the right questions to ask. The question is, what are we going to do about it, and when are we going to start? And that's what we need to do. Those are the questions that need to be asked. That's what we should be talking about. What are we going to do, and when are we going to do it? And we need to take action. Not just talk, but take action. So, what action can you take? I've said it before. Show up at a budget hearing. Get a copy of your budget, your county budget, your city budget, maybe even your state budget. Go to that budget hearing and watch these bozos in action. And maybe, even if you might even get a chance to talk for 2 whole minutes, you can just ask them a really tough question and see how they squirm and probably not respond. But at least that way you'd be doing something, your civic duty. Who knows, maybe you get your face on the TV news, or a reporter will ask you a question. Or you can take your own video, and just like I did with good old Congressman DeFazio, ask him a question and catch him on video. So, my fellow Americans, it's time to wake up and smell the tyranny.